Welcome to this episode of Community San Jose. Today we'll look at a part of the community that you may not be familiar with. That is the Jain community. We'll examine Jain culture, some of the beliefs of Jainism, and meet some members of the Jain community right here in San Jose.
Welcome, Namaste, and Jai Jinendra. It's my pleasure and distinct honor to introduce you to Jain society in the Bay Area. This is the Jain Center of Northern California. It is a Jain temple as well as a community center. Jain community is a small community in the world between 8 and 10 million people. North America is a host to roughly about 150,000 Jains, with Bay Area having 5,000 to 7,000 Jains.
Jainism is a way of life that promotes a path towards spiritual enlightenment by living in harmony with all beings through nonviolence, peace, compassion, and humility. The term Jain means followers of the genus or spiritual victors. Jain culture believes that there have been 24 Jainas who through their own efforts have reached enlightenment or nirvana. The last of these Jainas was Mahavir, whose teachings are still followed today.
You don't have a God, so what you are praying to, once again, is just more of like a moral guideline.
These 24 spiritual victors, or tirthankars, serve as a model of how anyone can reach salvation through thought, speech, and action.
We follow those who have already achieved salvation, and we try to look at their lifestyle, how they have done that, and we try to follow us. Like for example, somebody wants to become a basketball player, right? So he follows some idol, like who's the best basketball player he likes, and he or she will like to see how he practices, how he does what, and then they will like to follow him, and most of them will also put a picture of that person, basketball, his idol, and then try to follow the same thing. Same way, we put the picture of we make the idol of those people, like those 24 tirthankars who have attained salvation, and we follow their lifestyle. So we want to learn that.
At the core of the Jain belief system are the three interdependent concepts of nonviolence, non-absolutism, and non-possessiveness. Central to the Jain belief system is the concept of ahimsa, or nonviolence.
To have love for all, no matter is a small living being or big living being, but we should have love for all kinds of living beings.
That belief really, if you go deeper, makes us very environmentally friendly people, of course dietary, being vegetarian, and the whole idea of nonviolence also leads in the way how we interact with others.
And nonviolence is basic fundamental thing which I use every day in my life, in my thoughts, in my dealing with people, dealing with the people who work for me, dealing with the customers, dealing with everybody.
The only way we would be amenable not to do violence to someone of any kind, whether it is in thought, it is in words, or it is in deed, is when we consider the other like ourselves. The moment we consider the other as other, violence has occurred, right? Because then we are treating the other as the other, not like ourselves. But if we treat everybody as like human beings, because nobody wishes to die, nobody wishes to be in pain, but when you inflict pain on them, or when you say hurtful things to them, then you are committing violence.
The Jains view one's essential spirit as nonviolent, but yet one lives in a world where even if one endeavors to be a completely peaceful person, doesn't engage in any sort of violence, doesn't consume any animal products, never loses his or her temper, is always calm and lives with equanimity, one is still engaged in violence of various sorts, direct and indirect.
Ahimsa actually is, that is to say, nonviolence is universal to all religions at a fundamental level. But the Jains have taken it to a depth that perhaps no other religion has taken. So it is in the depth that I think the Jains can claim that it is a principle which is a fundamental principle for them, because it is above all other principles for the Jains.
We actually don't walk on grass, we avoid it because there's insects in the grass and there's things that you can actually kill.
And we always cover our mouth through this handkerchief, always whenever we speak.
Jains believe the concept of nonviolence must be extended to all living beings. So, to avoid the accidental inhalation of microscopic organisms, many followers will cover their mouth whenever they speak.
We use this handkerchief or the piece of cloth to avoid that violence, because the key principle of Jainism is non-violence that we practice, and we try to practice it at maximum, at the most.
Nonviolence also extends to not trampling on the viewpoints or ideas of others.
A big thing among Jainism is multiplicity of views. Okay, we very strongly respect that.
What that means is basically you look everything from many different angles, and which really helps me in my business all the time. I mean, it's really amazing. I use that, like if I am responsible for a program, I say, why don't I detach myself and then think about what's going wrong with that program? Because when I attach myself, I'm a very biased person.
See, when somebody says something, he's saying it from his or her point of view. So we have to, what the person says, we have to see from that person's point of view. So what I'm saying, like for example, there is a glass of water is half full. So from your point of view, say, oh, the glass is half full. And somebody will say, no, it is half empty. So, but they are saying the same thing, but they are saying it in a different way, because that's what they think from their point of view, they are saying it. So that's one philosophy about Jainism, that you have to respect everybody's point of view.
Jainism allows for a deep respect for other religions and belief systems.
I don't force my viewpoint towards others, which is, once again, another major philosophy I got from Jainism, because it respects all other forms of cultures, and once again, it's whatever moral code that another person wants to live by. It is not, who am I to antagonize that? Who am I to break that down?
Because we don't believe in conversion of religion. We believe in conversion of nature, conversion of heart, if there is negativity in the heart, the evils in the heart, and we believe in conversion of the attitude. We believe in the conversion of thinking. We don't believe in the conversion of religion. Even if one converts the religion, there is no guarantee that he will be a very good man. So we don't want a Jain, we want a good man.
A good Jain is very similar to a good Christian, a good Jew, a good Hindu, a good Muslim. All of us are the same.
Jainism actually talks about having less, and having less is better, and being happy with what you have. And it's really hard in the world of consumerism and being in America, because you're surrounded by it, and it's hard to have that balance.
I think you can preserve a lot of natural resources by following very simple principles of Jainism, which is called aparigraha, or non-possessiveness. Means you have to consume what is minimum you need to have.
Jainism recognizes a tension between the spiritual self-realization, or the spiritual existence, and existence in the material world.
Personal success, personal growth, all of these are very well within the confines of Jainism. We encourage people, to achieve what they want to achieve. But the key aspect that in our religion, or I should say in our culture, that we tell ourselves and we tell our children is that as you are going on this growth path, check your ego, check your, stay detached from that success.
Every culture has different customs. Here are some of the things you should be aware of when you meet a member of our community who is also a Jain.
In terms of diet, there's a significant differentiation, and Jains particularly mostly are vegetarians, and also they're non-alcoholic. Most of the Jains do not drink. Jains normally dress like most of the non-Jains in the U.S. would dress.
The monks and the people we revere do wear this piece of cloth to cover their mouths when they speak. That's out of respect to not kill any microorganisms when you're speaking. And as much as they can, they always try to keep their mouth covered.
You'll find that Jain spiritual gurus wear a variety of outfits.
In terms of traditional garb that they wear, it's pure white, and it's just like a cloth material that's draped, and it's worn typically like a sari for the women.
Which is cloth wrapped around the bottom here, as well as it drapes on the top. And sometimes they drape it over their head as well, not done as frequently now as it was done in the past. So that's how normally the dress is. Most teenagers dress extremely similar to a lot of their non-Jain friends.
Typically speaking, you would find that Jains are, they live in joint family system and reap the benefits of, having grandparents and their children and their the children's children all living in one generation, one family altogether.
Many times among Jain families, you'll see my parents or my wife's parents are living there. The thing to note there is many times they don't speak English. And even if they speak English, they may or may not follow the accent.
Be very careful to get verbal confirmation that they've really understood what the police officer is saying.
If aggression is being towards them, instead of, giving the same aggression back, a lot of times they might become quiet. A lot of times they will just stop and usually probably just listen, and a lot of times maybe go silent and not respond as much as they should.
So one of the very common Jain symbols that you'll find in India is the swastika. Actually, it is believed that Hitler borrowed that or stole that symbol from the Jains.
The swastika that is used for religion purposes among Indians and Jains is pretty much vertical horizontal, okay? Whereas that swastika is tilted about 45 degrees.
This particular symbol really represents the universe. If you come to the temple and you go upstairs and people draw with the rice, and you will see it on a bench, the symbol is being drawn. It's basically praying that the whole world lives in peace. That's all it means.
So what you will find somewhat differently in a Jain household would be a small temple area. And in this temple area, you may actually even see a sign of swastika. It may look like there will be little idols there or multiple idols and maybe photos. In fact, you may even find photo of a naked monk.
We have monks which don't wear any clothes, and they walk in the street and stuff like that, and people touch their feet and worship them.
We're not praying to any nudity or any cult or anything like that.
This is the way we think about giving up everything. You gave up everything, even the last clothes on your body. They own nothing, okay? And the way we think about it is that's the way we came into this world, and that's the way they are living in this world, and that's the way they're going to go out of the world.
Throughout history, the Jain principles of nonviolence and non-absolutism have influenced mainstream culture.
In the current North American culture and tradition, things are changing. For example, a lot of diets are getting to be more vegetarian, more healthy. Number two, we're discovering that the whole concept of forgiveness will really reduce significant amount of violence. And Jains have been talking about forgiveness for a very, very long time. In fact, that's one of the core ways to soften your heart. The other thing that we've been talking about is equal rights. So Jains were the first ones to talk about women having equal rights. And as we know, today we strive to have equal rights and balance in the way we look at various cultures and traditions. So in fact, what is happening today in the American culture and tradition has been part of Jainism for the last 5,000 years. We were actually one of the first ones to say that women are equal to men. And as you can see, that happens. We also said that you have to have a win-win situation in order for really everybody to be happy. And we cannot trample on our environment. And so we were one of the first environmentalists. So what is happening today in the American culture is very much the way what Jain way of life has been. And it only strengthens our faith because of all the great research and confirmation that is happening in the American society today.
We hope this video has helped you understand a little more about the Jain people and culture within our larger community San Jose.